I do believe that they actually walk amongst us. I truly do believe that they are walking amongst us right now. And you wouldn't be able to even tell you were standing next to one of them at this point. And, you know, when I was in the remote viewing course with Major Ed Dames, me and him had extensive talks. We sat and talked for almost 13 hours straight one day.
Nice.
Yeah, incredible conversations. And he said that there's a base down in Antarctica, which I knew about because we have all the research facilities all around that area. But these beings are still down there and they go and come as they please. And all the governments of the world know this, and there's nothing they can do to stop them.
Right.
So I believe that they're walking amongst us right now. Then I also believe there may be another group totally separate from the Atlantean Anunnakis that may be multidimensional or multi-universal. And what that means is, well, you know, universes, I believe that there's a multiverse and everything is really stacked on top of each other.
Sure.
And the only thing that stops you from accessing that other dimension or that other universe is a frequency.
Right.
So our atomic frequency is set to, our subatomic frequency is set to this third dimension in this universe. But what's to say a 4 million year old advanced civilization, okay? We're barely 100 years old in terms of technology.
Sure.
Forget about the 200,000 we've been here trying to use bones and stuff. So a 4 million year old advanced civilization now figured out, oh, we can phase shift our subatomic frequency and move into other dimensions or move into other universes. We can time travel. We can do all these crazy things. And, you know, there could be people, you know, breaking temporal laws and even engaging in our civilizations and engaging mankind, violating all different types of rules and laws that have been set, like Matt said, that have been set up, you know, and when you look at Star Trek, they have the same kind of laws and rules in place, even though that's science fiction, you know, they got it from somewhere. It just makes logical sense, you know?
Right.
But there's got to be these rules and these laws in place, not to tinker with these less advanced civilizations. You know, so but I believe there has been tinkering going on, possibly from two separate groups, a physical group in the third dimension, and maybe a multi-dimensional or multi-universal group they may be two totally separate groups.
Right. Beautiful. Well said. I mean, I kind of want to just mention to Matt, I don't want to rabbit hole because we have about 30 minutes left and we have the important stuff to talk about, which is like where we're going. Yeah. Do we want to mention, you know, this, so many people talk about it, you know, we've talked about it on shows, Billy's mentioned it, you guys talk about it, you know, the reptilian consciousness. Now, is the reptilian consciousness what Billy just said, this out of our realm or out of our space-time, you know, group beings, you know, maybe an energy that, you know, is like affecting this, you know, people in this third dimensional vibration? I mean, just to mention it before we go on, what do you think?
You asking me, Jay?
Yeah, I'm asking you, Matt.
Well, you know, the more that I've delved into that, it's a difficult topic. I think a lot of people, and this is just my opinion.
Sure.
Anyone who believes what they want, that's fine. But when I've studied this and I've really looked into it, there's definitely the possibility that there are beings that could fall under that type of category that maybe are invisible that we can't perceive. But I think when I think of that term, I really think of the primitive left brain. And I really think of this aspect where we are constantly conflicted with the aspect of having parts of us that are primitive.
Right.
I think that's why we have all these what are known as primitive urges or demiurges that we are constantly battling. Because I think because we're a combination of two completely different things, we do have this mammal ape side of us that is like the blueprint of us. But then we also have this divine God stance that was this spark and this transience of energy that is beyond anything that anything on this planet is even capable of. We are truly, I believe, like gods in this physical mortal body. And the great trick is to make us believe that we're not. Right. I think that's the most difficult thing for people to wrap their heads around, is the idea that we're extremely important. And what I mean important, I mean that it may be so important what happens to us. And this isn't an egotistical thing just because we're humans.
Sure.
But I really believe that everything I've studied, everything that I've looked at, says that even though the universe is vast, and the Fermi paradox, things like that, and the Drake equation explain that there are likely civilizations all throughout, space is vast and solar systems are vast, and what we are and what we're part of may be so much more important than we understand. Even though the Earth is just this blue speck in the middle of an endless cosmic ocean, we may be the great experiment that may be determining the entire future of consciousness in the multiverse, because we don't know how extensive this experiment is. And what I mean by experiment, when you read cuneiform tablets and a lot of other ancient texts, they specifically talk about how these fallen angel beings came here and they essentially disrupted this reality, and they wanted to create these beings that were in their image, just like Genesis says, created in their image. And we were created here to essentially be workers in this physical reality.
Right.
But the problem was that we became way more advanced than we were supposed to because of certain conflicts that arose with these creator gods. And it's the common story that everyone should know that's inherent now, is that one of these creator gods, or multiple ones of them, fell in love with their creation. And I'm not talking about the prime creator of everything.
Right.
This throughout every spiral and every mathematical calculation. But free will exists everywhere. And the idea behind free will is that you can do anything you want as long as you let that being make its own choices. And so the idea is that we are beings that have been tricked into believing that we're not important. Whereas where we might actually be so important that it may be a complete factor in how this entire experiment in consciousness in a physical body of like a godlike state turns out. So think about this for a minute. What would happen if we destroyed ourselves? Just destroyed ourselves right now? We don't know. That's the scary thing that I want people to understand. We may be so critical to this story and what we turn into, what we become in the future, that some have even surmised, and I'm gonna stretch this because people want me to stretch sometimes, and I will. I'm not afraid to. Okay.
Oh, don't worry, I got something coming from you when you're done.
Is that we may actually be beings, physical beings here that become something great in the future.
Right.
I mean, something so significant that what we are in the future may already exist now, and they may have come back to try to make sure that this goes the way it should. Right. Because if it doesn't, those who I believe, some of those who are here trying to help things right now, they may not exist if we destroy ourselves.
That's awesome, Matt. So keep going. No, keep going.
We don't fully know how important we are, but every indication that I've come up with after looking at all of this is that we may literally be the keys to everything. And why do I say that? Look at all the interest that's been played up on our story and all throughout history. I called my last book The Stage of Time because it truly seems like this is a great stage where we're being monitored and watched and influenced by all around us. It really may be like a giant cosmic reality show to sit back but not always sitting back, right? And be watching this and be like, how do these gods in mortal physical bodies, do they ever reach their divinity or do they destroy themselves? Let's sit back and watch it. But then others are like, no. We can't allow them to reach that state. That's going to destroy our story. So we'll influence them to make sure they don't reach that state. I truly believe that just like religion has mentioned, there's a great war in heaven. There's a great war in the dimensions over how this story turns out. Beautiful. And right now, us talking about this and bringing all this lost wisdom back that the ancients were trying to tell us, the significance that what we really are and the choices we make every day in life may truly ripple out to aspects that we can't understand. And so I like to bring it back so that we understand how important we are in the decisions we're making, because I think if people had that kind of mindset that what they do matters and that they could become anything they want and potentially literally impact the entire story of humanity, it changes your daily activities and how you want to, what you want to aspire to in the future. And so I really truly feel like that there's a great battle here in our reality that we can't understand or see because we have such a very limited perception of what's exists out beyond us. We only have this very, very narrow viewpoint of the 7 colors of visible light spectrum, but we just can't see anything that's going on around us. And so it's very easy to fall into that deception that we are just an animal fighting amongst one another.
Matt, that was so beautiful. I lost my train of thought, but I wanted to say what you basically just said was, the great Pierre Sabak in his 2 books, Holographic Culture and The Murder of Reality, he talks about exactly what you just said. This is a grand experiment, and the beings that are way higher dimensional than us, the Anunnaki, maybe even others, are literally allowing us to play this emergent systems game.
Exactly.
And so if we, again, choose, right, because we're all, as you said, we have free will, we have the ability to choose resonance or dissonance. If enough of us choose resonance, the golden age will commence forth, and they, meaning the dark forces, whatever you want to call them, the death half of the wave, the left-hand path, they will stop messing with us. They will stop creating this, incoherence and allow us to become who you said, Matt, which we ultimately are destined likely to become. Billy, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. I believe that, we live in a universe where entropy rules. Everything moves from an ordered state to a disordered state. And that you can see that in financial systems. You can see that in your avatar body. You can see that in anything that's man-made. Everything moves from an ordered state to a disordered state. And, over time, the same thing happens as we go through this Yuga cycle. And so now that we're gone through a huge amount of chaos and we're coming towards this crescendo of this chaos to move back into this organized state again. So we're going to recoalesce in this organized form and move up into that golden age. And like you said earlier, all the things necessary to have a golden age are already here right now on this planet.
Right, they are.
We have the technology. We got 3D printing. We have stem cells. We have, the ability to regrow limbs. We have the capability of, if you have a broken or severed spine, we can transmit the frequency from your brain to a receiver on the other end of the spine and make the leg walk again. Yep. You don't even need to put the nerves back together anymore. We can stop Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We can cure cancer. We have all these things here. There's a lot of it's being suppressed. We've got the 0 point. We're moving forward at a drip by drip pace with these cars and vehicles still using combustion engines / electricity, right. Which electric cars still use gas because they're going to the power station to get the electricity, which is running off of fuel. They got us running in circles, man. But everything is here. So all it takes is for enough resonance. Just like if you put a wine glass on the table and you sing at it and you match the resonant frequency of the atomic structure of that wine glass, it's going to explode.
Beautiful.
The same thing is happening with our consciousness. Our consciousness is sending out waves of light. Those light waves will actually leave your skull. Every thought you think creates an electromagnetic wave. Those are actually waves of light. Like Matt said, we can't see because we only see 1% of the spectrum.
Right.
But those waves are going out, and those waves carry what? Frequency. Mm-hmm. So when enough of us get on that same resonant frequency, that same thought conscious frequency, we're going to shatter this illusion. And once the illusion is shattered, we're going to run right into that golden age. And what I'd like to see this time, because nowhere have I ever read, I've read over 1,000 scriptures, texts, cylinder scrolls, papyruses, and all these, cylinder scrolls, everything. And I've never seen where it said you have to start over again.
Right. Right.
No, nowhere does it say that. So why can't we now, maybe going in with knowledge this time, how can we put together a plan to sustain a golden age and not go back in this time loop again? That's the ultimate goal.
Billy, I want you to go, you just said so much, and you and I were talking off air, and I want you to relate what you said to me off air on the show, because it's so important. And you just said it.
Yeah.
The people right now in dissonance, right? The lower chakras, the red, the anxiety, the self-hatred, the apathy, it's not my fault, no personal accountability. Describe to me what you told me. What is actually happening to them as this light that you just talked about, as this cosmic spiritual energy is blasting the planet, as Gerald used to say, from the Oort cloud? Why are they screaming and fighting and shrill? And you see them and you're like, my God, they look like they have demonic entity attachments. Yeah, what is happening to them?
Well, what people have to understand is the human body is the most advanced technology that we know of, not only on the planet, but that we know of from our perspective in the universe.
Right.
There's nothing more advanced than the human avatar body, period. We just haven't found it yet. There probably are beings out there more advanced than us with their avatar bodies, but from our perspective, what we can claim that we know, This is super advanced, but why does DNA store information? DNA stores information from computers because it actually works together. It's compatible, which means that if we're compatible with digital bits of information, then our body needs to get updates just like your cell phone, okay? Now what's happening is, as we are on this arm of this galactic ring, as we orbit the galactic equator, the galaxy itself is very thick, even though it looks like a thin disk, it's very thick. And our solar system undulates up and down this galactic arm. Now we come to a point right now where we are literally at the perfect line of the galactic equator, shooting straight through to the galactic center, which is streaming all these high charged particles, cosmic rays and everything, all these energetic particles directly at us, directly interacting with our DNA and modifying and changing us, giving us updates. However, just like your cell phone, if you put your computer, you keep getting these updates. They keep telling you, you need to press this restart button so that you can actually install the updates. We're all getting them, you know? Or we're getting them there, but people like us, we're clicking the restart button and we're taking the download, and then we're getting the restart, and we're coming up with a newer advanced operating system. A lot of people are still haven't put in the first update. They're 30 updates behind us.
That's absolutely beautiful.
And that's what you see on the streets and on the TV and all the clashing and the animalistic, barbaric behavior. Their updates are they're way out of date, man. They have 40, 50 updates. They haven't even pressed the one button yet. That's the problem.